Hello everyone, and I just wanted to thank everyone for all the great comments that's been on my YouTube channel. I've been trying to answer those on the text messaging back on the YouTube messaging. I apologize for not getting back to a lot of people sooner. It's just been a rough couple weeks or so, and my internet connection was down for several days, and I finally got all that fixed and everything, so I'm back at it. So if I missed your comment, it took a while to get back to you, I apologize. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and move on. I've decided that the next thing I'm going to do is see about putting the decals onto the edge of the saucer, and that's these right here that are labeled EW in the decal sheets. And according to the instructions, it says that those basically should be put on randomly around the side of the saucer. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to go ahead and cut all these out and kind of look and decide about exactly how I want to place those, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Well, that's the first one I just got down, and wanted to take a moment and show everybody what that looks like on there. I just patted it down, tried to get any air bubbles out of it. I haven't put any setting solution on it yet, but I did want to go show you what that's going to look like, so I'm going to go ahead and continue adding these onto the hull. It's a very straightforward process. I wet the hull down with some water, I then a little bit, and then I go back in and I put microset onto the hull, and I do that with my brush going back and forth. And as I've showed previously in my other video, I let the decal set in water with some that has a little dish soap in it, and I let it set, put it in there for about 5 seconds or so, take it out, let it sit here on the paper towel for about 30 seconds, 30 to 40 seconds, and then it's ready to go ahead and pull off and then put that on. These particular decals are curved, so you can see that they're supposed to conform to the hull, and they do that quite nicely. I've only got one minor little wrinkle there I keep pushing down here on the edge, but overall I think it's going to work out really nice and add some nice detail onto that. So let's get some more added on there and see what it looks like. Okay guys, I have discovered something, and as you can see, if you line up the color that is on the decal, you're going to get a little bit of leftover decal. If you're going to line it up right to the edge here for the top of the saucer, you're going to get this overhang of decal that's left. Now you can go back and trim and cut that off and everything. Let me see if I can get my camera to focus on it here. Put my thumb in there and see if it'll focus. My camera has a hard time focusing on these decals, and I don't know if I can get it on camera or not. Let me see if I can pop in something that the camera can focus on, and maybe if I'm lucky you can see that well, I don't guess you can, but anyway, let me just tell you, the printing on the decal ends before the film does. There is about maybe a millimeter's worth of clear film on there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim that back just a little bit before putting it on putting any more on, so I don't have to go back and deal with this little problem after the fact, after it's all set up and everything. So I just wanted to point that out, and I'll go ahead and keep adding these around. Okay, well, there are some more of those down. Well, actually, in fact, they're all down, and all placed on around the perimeter of the hull, and that's what it looks like. So it's not bad. I still need to put some microsol on there and weld them down. And here is the one making all the noise, in case you were wondering. Yes, Allie. And there's Sarah over there. The two that keep me company all the time while I'm modeling. Anyway, that's what that's looking like. I'm really impressed. They go down really well, and they're nice and smooth. And they're a little shiny, but after a dull coat gets on there, it should be really tone those way down and blend them in nicely. So the next thing to do will be to go ahead and lay the underside decals on, which I will be doing next. Well, I just wanted to give a status update. I've gone ahead and laid down a good portion of these on the underside of the saucer. You can tell which ones I'm missing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to go. This one I just laid down. These I laid down in the beginning, and they have already had a coating of microsol on them, so they're starting to blend in and go into the creases very well. For these real big creases, or panel lines I should say, actually, I'm going to have to slice those and then put more microsol on there to get that to go down. And I'll probably cut these out over the windows as well. But I just wanted to give you a quick update to see how it's going. Let me turn that light off so you can see these without glare on them. See how that's looking. And up next I should have this thing pretty much covered. I still need to do some trimming of the decals up around the planetary sensor, but I'll do that after I do all the microsol and everything and set that on there. And after the final coat of microsol for tonight, I'm going to come back when this is dry and cut the decal on top of these deep rings that are on here. I don't think I'm going to have to do that for the panel lines because it's sinking down in really well, but these are really deep, and I will have to cut those and put microsol on it so the decal will go down in and hug the edges of those little trenches there. And then I'll seal all that up, of course, later with a dull coat, and that should help blend everything in. The color differences that you're seeing here is basically the issue, as I said, between what's still wet and not thoroughly dried and those that are completely dry, like these right over here, which are thoroughly dry. So anyway, I just wanted to finish up the decals and show everyone what it's looking like. Let me pull down here so you can see what it looks like on the hull, which looks pretty good. So the next time you'll see it, I should have a dull coat on it, and or a gloss coat, I guess, first, and then put the registry decals on, and then come back after all of that's done and put the dull coat on top of the decals. Okay, there's one other technique I wanted to mention that I do that I just wanted to bring up in terms of these grid lines here. Even using the microsol and the microset products, if the decal does not sit all the way down into these lines, what I do is I take a very sturdy toothpick with a nice point on it. I put it in the microsol for a little bit, but what I do is I come back in and use the toothpick to go through the grid line like this, pushing the decal down after it's had some microsol treatments on it, and that actually pushes the decal completely down in there if it's not fully setting, which is easy to see if you lift it up and you see some light reflection off of it, a little silvering going on, and that gets it nice and down in there and fully contacted. And then what I do is I come back and brush some more microsol onto that groove or that grid line, and it sets it down perfectly, which you can see right here. These are the camera's focusing. These are completely set perfect, and I mean, you can't even touch, you can't even feel that there's decals on there. Unlike these up here, which I showed before, are so deep and everything, those you have to go in and physically cut them and get those to set. But I just wanted to point that out in relation to these. If you're having trouble getting it to set completely, just take a toothpick and run along the grid lines, and that will get the decals to set really nice. and flush, and then just come back in, put some more microsol on it, and it will end up being perfect for you. So thanks everyone, and thanks for watching. Take care and happy modeling.